Okay. So let's talk about a couple of things we want to have a look at while we're at the Tiffin shop. These lights up above the windshield, those little orange lights, there's 5 of them. Those should light up when you turn on the parking light, turn on any of your lights. They don't come on at all. So that's one thing we for sure want to have them look at because that's a safety feature. And the second thing is this. This came loose from the door. It's totally hanging out. That definitely needs to be fixed. It needs something much stronger behind the fiberglass to screw into. And this bay door, I hardly ever use this, but I need to get it adjusted because it doesn't always shut. See, you can't, it didn't shut. So that needs to get adjusted. And I'd like to have them look at the slides adjustments. One, because they move a little crooked when they're coming in and out every once in a while. I just want to make sure that's nothing to be concerned about. But also, I want to make sure that it's not hanging down too low. Because you can see it's a really fine line between the door and the slide. It's just only a couple millimeters clearance, and I want to make sure that this isn't hanging down lower than it should be, because I remember it being a bigger gap before. Then we have a paint flaw here. This little strip here, this was installed by a dealership out in California because when about a few months after we had this coach, there was a crack running down here, and it's because this is a structurally weak space right underneath this slide. So in the repair they put this extra reinforcement there, and they would have had to repaint this area, but they didn't do a very good job on doing the primer or something because this has been all peeling off, and that's just started happening pretty recently. But that's definitely needs to look at while we're here at the paint shop. And I have one last spot. You might be able to see it up at the top corner. There's a little white spot up there. It looks like a bird dropping right now, but there's actually like a little scuff scrape on the top of the coach, and I'd like to have them look at that while we're here at the shop. Make sure there's nothing that I should be concerned about, and potentially just touching up the paint on it so it looks nice, if not needing repair. But that's all the stuff that needs to be repaired outside. I have a few items we would like to have them look at on the inside. Occasionally, depending on what kind of water we're hooked up to, we'll sometimes get a clunky sound when we turn on the water for the toilet. That's not an issue here, and we have high pressure water here, so I'm not really sure what causes that. It's more of a question than it is something that needs to be repaired. But we do have a little leak in the bottom of the toilet. It's not holding the water. I think it just perhaps the gasket got dry or something, but it doesn't seem to hold the water as well as it used to.
And we did notice that after we came back from Australia.
That's when it got
so it might have been
really
dried
pronounced,
out.
yeah. But it's still leaking. You can actually see the water falling right now.
I'm sure people don't want to keep looking down our toilet right in this moment. I'm
Probably
glad
not.
I gave it a nice clean, but yeah.
Those are the only real issues we'd like to have repaired or concerns we have. But we do have some additional questions while we're here. We'd also like to figure out what is underneath the bed. Because if you'll see when I lift the bed up, there's a little bit of storage here, but then back here, like 3/4 of the underneath the bed is covered up with this thing, and I haven't ever taken it all apart because it's pretty labor intensive to take it all apart just out of a curiosity, whereas if I just ask the guys here, they actually probably know what's underneath there. So that's a question we want to ask.
Because that could be some extra storage space or something, like if it's just empty or...
Or at least I'll know if something goes wrong, I'll know that's where I need to go look for the solution. We also have a question about anode rods. We have an Atwood water heater. Our build sheet says that we had a Suburban water heater, but we actually have an Atwood water heater. And Atwood water heaters do not require an anode rod. But we'd heard from some people that you can still put an anode rod in, and so we were curious about their recommendations on that here at the shop. And for those of you who don't know what an anode rod is, it's made out of aluminum or magnesium, and it's a little rod that goes inside the water heater, and its purpose is to get the hard minerals out of the water and degrade the anode rod, which is replaceable, so that you don't have any damage to the actual water tank. Yes, that's an especially good question for us because we had to replace that water heater not long ago because it failed. And I want to know if we would have had an anode rod in that tank, would it have prevented that? So we have a couple other questions. We want to talk to them about the possibility of installing sumo springs, or something we've heard about, as can really help improve the handling and suspension of a gas coach. We want to ask about the installation of those. And we want to ask them about these tank sensors. As you can see, the fresh is showing 1/3, the gray is showing 2/3 full, and the black is showing 1/3. And really, there's only a tiny bit of water currently in the black tank. The gray tank is nearly empty as well, because we emptied it right before we drove today, and yet it's showing 2/3. And the fresh is accurate. But we think that maybe stuff gets stuck on the sensors, but I'd like to just know a better way to consistently have them show what they're meant to. But luckily, after traveling on the road for a while, I have a pretty good gauge in my mind on how much water we've used and how full it actually is. While we're here, we'd also like to have them look at fine-tuning adjusting on this entry door, because it's mostly fine, but I feel like we have to shut this door really firmly to get it to shut properly. And if we have a hot sun that's coming at the door, this door really seals up and it's hard to open, and the screen door hangs up on the floor, and so it's really awkward to open the door. So just a minor adjustment, but I'm hoping that they might have a solution, a slight tweak to make that door just that much more enjoyable. So there you have it, the list we brought to Tiffin to have the service guys have a look at. Most of it is really minor stuff. A good chunk of it is just questions, but it's a great opportunity to learn and get a few things fine-tuned while we're here. We've had this coach for 2 years, and we've had a handful of minor things, but we've had only a couple major repairs in the last 2 years, and all of them have been repaired under warranty, 2 of which were repaired under an extended warranty, and 1 of which was repaired by the Tiffin warranty. And so we shared our list with the folks at the check-in for the campground, and they informed us that tomorrow morning, potentially as early as 7 a.m., we'll be having a service technician come by and review our list with us and answer the questions, and then let us know whether or not we're going to be expecting to be in the express service lanes or in a regular service bay, and a timeline for when the coach will be going into service. So I'll be getting up early tomorrow so that I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to go talk to the service guy first thing in the morning.